What's going on YouTube? Modeling Nut back at you. Today for your reviewing pleasure we have the Iron Shipwrights SS Edmond Fitzgerald in 1 to 350 scale. This is kit number 4072. And for those who don't know the story of the Edmond Fitzgerald, it was a ore carrier that primarily sailed on the Great Lakes, specifically in Lake Superior across to Erie, and in 1975 encountered a bad storm in mid-November and was lost. Obviously, the songwriter Gordon Lightfoot put the ballad together of the wreck of the Edmond Fitzgerald. You can go check that out on YouTube at your leisure. So this is again in 1 to 350 scale. Now this is not obviously a mainstream kit manufacturer, so it's a little bit interesting. It's one of the few kits that I have from Iron Shipwrights. However, if you're looking for some of the more obscure shipping, they are some of the only ones that you're able to really go with. And the other thing I wanted to note is this is a 100% resin and photo etch kit. The reason I wanted to make sure that was noted is because of the fact that when sanding resin, make sure you're doing it, with a respirator, in a well-ventilated area, because the fibers that come off when sanding are similar to asbestos in that they are fibrous and can not be great for your lungs. So the instruction sheets are pretty much just some plain type paper that are printed. So he has the parts list as to what each part is, photo etched parts, painting guide to show you what to kind of expect there. He has the parts call out here for the parts listing. Apologize, the paper folding fit into the box didn't really go well. So as you can see, the instructions are a bit interesting if you've never worked with these kits before. They're all hand drawn for the most part. So you have the Edmond Fitzgerald, you have the decal for the water draft line, and then photo etch parts that come all into here. You have the individual parts of the resin that make up the front bridge. You have, again, all of the notes for detailing. And then we have the aft section here. So you have the lifeboats, you have the main body parts, you have the funnel here, obviously propeller. They have the deck cranes, which are all in photo etch as well. Again, making note of using the decal for the lettering and color callouts as it goes. And then you have the information on the lamps to show you the spacing, to show you how those should be spaced. And then some more color callouts here and decal information. And then last but not least, just kind of a overview of the photo etch that you're going to get, which is primarily going to be railings and things like that. I have added a few additional photo etch sets to this for when I plan to build it. That would be my bill of sale. So I'm not going to get this fully out of the bag just because I don't want to lose any of the teeny tiny parts, but I will bring the bags themselves. Let me go ahead and lower you to get you a little bit closer here. So should take just a moment. And then we'll go through a lot of the detail a lot closer here. So you have the main deck housing. So let's see if we can get that to lock in, bring down some of the contrast to get you a better view. So as you can see, a lot of just kind of dangly bits off of the resin. It's going to be a lot of cleanup that's going to have to take place to get this to fit correctly. So I would definitely not recommend this if you are a beginner modeler. You definitely want to have some experience building some stuff before trying to tackle this. And again, as it is in a bit of a loose box, be cautious of all of the all of the little tiny bits, as that can actually be your actual detail as well. So anything kicking around in the bag, don't just toss. Like these parts here, they may look like they're just scrap rubbish, but they may actually be your details. So something to note. So that is primarily all of the upper parts to the ship itself, and then you have the one long piece of resin here, and this thing is beefy. I mean, it weighs about, I'd say, close to 10 pounds, 5 to 10 pounds of just pure resin. Now, this is not a waterline, this is a full hull kit. However, as you can see, again, due to the nature of this being a cast resin kit, it is pretty rough on the bottom. So again, when cleaning it up, belt sander outside, be cautious, be careful, obviously, when doing it. And then, as you can see, some of the holes aren't exactly the greatest. You'll want to probably look to re-drill those out. Obviously, be cautious. Like here, the back wall has actually kind of broken on mine. It's a really fragile part. That's the other thing about resin, is it's pretty darn fragile. So these little winglets here, just got to be cautious and careful with when handling. But as you might be able to see, I think might be an air bubble right here that's just under the surface. Might get away with that and be okay. But overall, again, I mean, this is one of the only manufacturers, I think the only manufacturer for a Great Lakes ore carrier in 1 to 3/50th scale. And to be honest, he was doing a bit of a move here a couple of years ago, about the time I was looking to buy this, and I thought I had missed out on the opportunity because I've always wanted this kit. They are not cheap either, so photo etch metal is extremely fine. Let me see if I can get that to, see if it'll like it here. So the photo etch is really nice though. Really nice thin photo etch fretting for this, for all of the railings. Got, see if I can get it to catch in the light without glaring. And then you have a little fret back here, which is just some additional railings as well. Now, the one thing I went ahead and done, like I said, I've tossed in a couple of additional sets. These are 1 to 400 scale doors, but there was a couple of areas that I thought could really kind of use some additional detail within the doors. I may or may not use these. Again, I happen to find them in a hobby shop as a part of a kind of like an estate sale for very cheap, so I went ahead and picked them up and tossed them in here, but those do not come with the kit. But in either case, that is the 1 to 3/50th scale SS Edmond Fitzgerald by Iron Shipwrights. Again, I would highly recommend this if you are a fan of the Edmond Fitzgerald or the ore carriers. Just know going into it that this is going to be obviously a complete resin kit, so you might need to work, you might need to have some skills with resin or understand that it doesn't work the same as plastic before going into it. The only other thing that I will, kind of going back to some of the details, note is like with the main bridge deck here, all of the windows are molded in. Again, when I go to build this, and there's a little bit of a additional bit of resin in mine, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do about that yet. If I'm going to go ahead and try to drill the windows out, drill them in, and then put like a glazing to look like glass or something like that. Because when you were actually able to see these ships moving and working, you could actually see straight through the wheelhouse. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do about this yet. Given that it's it's complex in a lot of ways, but it's a relatively simple design, I may just scratch build, but we'll see when that time comes. In either case, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you have any questions, definitely post them in the comments below. I do try to read them and get back to people as quickly as I can. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.